And what a year it has been for Seattle Sounders FC, the 2016 MLS champions, winning it right there on the penalty kick in Toronto. You know, this franchise has waited 8 years before reaching the summit with that penalty kick shootout win over Toronto FC. Joining us now, head coach Brian Schmetzer. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you very much for being here, and congratulations.
Well, happy to be here, and thanks, and congratulations to all of us. We're talking, and you're a soccer fan. There's lots of soccer fans out there, so really happy to be here.
So, you know, and we were talking too. I mean, you and I have, something in common. We were both Seattle guys. We grew up here, both Sounder fans from early on. And you were actually a member of the NASL Sounders that played in the Kingdom back in the 80s. What a great thrill to play for your hometown team back then, right?
Yeah, the history of soccer in Seattle, it's a long one, starting in '74, moving through the 80s in the Kingdom. Fast forward now to CenturyLink, '09 to MLS, and culminating with a really fantastic performance by the guys and a nice trophy.
And you have been there every step of the way at every level in Seattle, and in so many ways the name Schmetzer is synonymous with soccer in this town. It must have been really special and gratifying for you to not only get the head coaching job, but to be able to guide this team to the pinnacle of the MLS.
I am very proud of that. It was a special moment for me when the guys hoisted the trophy. So yes, it's very nice, but it's a team effort. We're a team sport. The guys really believed that they could win. You know, we were pretty far down the table when we first started. So I'm very pleased the way they kind of came together and brought this trophy to Seattle.
I mean, to say you were far down on the table is kind of an understatement. You guys were 9th in the Western Conference, and you had, you know, at a certain point, it didn't look like you had any chance of even making the playoffs. But then, you know, things happen. Ladero shows up, and everything just kind of started to change. You took over as head coach. What happened? What was the spark?
Well, I think it was two things. I think a lot of coaching is reminders, and I reminded the players that, hey, this is your team. You guys do all the hard work, so why don't you try and reward yourself for all the work you do? And then we had to actually hold people accountable because we weren't doing that well, so we had to kick them in the butt a little bit to get them started, but you know, they listened to the messages and they started on a winning streak, and the rest, sort of seek, is the history.
I want to ask you about Jordan Morris. He's another Seattle guy. He you know, grew up playing soccer in Mercer Island. His dad's the doctor for Sounders FC. You know him very well. Obviously, you know Jordan very well. Now, what is your relationship like with him? I mean, because it seems like in some ways his career is sort of paralleling yours in some ways. I mean, you started with the old NASL Sounders, and now he's being able to play for his hometown team and brings up the cup home.
Well, I hope he stays around here for 30-plus years like I do, because we love him, because he's a great player. But, you know, there's a lot of local stories here, and Jordan is just one of many. You know, a lot of those players back in the 80s stayed here, you know, kept their families here. The fabric of soccer and this city is really, it's a good story. And Jordan is just a kid that wanted to play for his hometown team, and we're so happy and so lucky to have him.
Yeah, and it looks like his future is incredibly bright. There were a few moments when, you know, he was, you know, just blowing past the defense, and, you know, at one point was even, you know, blowing past a few members of the U.S. national team, and you have to think he's going to be a member of that team on a regular basis moving forward.
Well, he should be. He should be, because he's that talented. And we have some other young kids, you know, Christian Roldan, Brad Evans, you know, some guys that have been involved with the national team. Obviously, Clint's been involved there, and, you know, we hope that continues.
Losing Clint this season, that was, you know, kind of a heartbreaking situation for a lot of folks, but all indications are that he is doing much better. He had a heart irregularity that forced him to leave the club, but the indications are he's working back out, and he has every intention of coming back and playing.
It's Clint's intention to come back, but we are obviously taking it very slowly. His health is absolutely our #1 concern, but we would love to have him back. He was part of this team that kind of sparked that run. The first 4 games that I took over, Clint was with the team before we found out about his heart condition. And so we had a draw and then 3 wins in a row. So he was part of the team that sparked us to get going.
Motivational factor for sure. I want to talk about the parade and what a special day that was. You decided to jump off the trolley and walk with the fans. Why was that?
Well, I like the TV and all the accolades that go to the players. I'd rather them get the spotlight. I wanted to jump off because I'm a Seattle fan. I mean, I love the Sonics, I love the Seahawks, the Huskies are doing great, the Mariners. I'm a Seattle guy, so I wanted to walk with the fans and just kind of talk to them and get their perspective on things. And it was a really cool experience for me because there was a lot of people out there that were really amped up about the Sounders and being from Seattle.
Oh, heck yeah. What a day. I mean, if you can you pick out one moment from that day that really sticks out for you?
I would have to say that the whole Zach Scott storyline of a guy who his whole career was with the Sounders, first in the USL.
Years, yeah.
And the reception that he got when we were there underneath the Space Needle, him singing our Jingle Bells, the song we sing when we win away from home, that's a really cool story for me. Very happy for him. Happy for Brad and Ozzy, 2 other originals, but I think Zach's story is pretty cool.
It is a fantastic story. Congratulations to you, head coach Brian Schmetzer of the Seattle Sounders.
Thank you.
And the MLS Cup in the house. It is a beautiful piece of hardware, and it is ours.